speak to us, we have a scripture reading, John 16:33.
These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world.
Amen.
Thank you.
So it's confession time. Any of you ladies here gone shopping with somebody? And you're trying on outfits. And you come out and ask them, how does this look? Anybody here ever done that? What did you want them to tell you?
The truth.
Why? So you want them to tell you the truth? Okay. Now tell me something else. When you come out, and you saw the outfit, you want it to look good on you, and you come out and they tell you that it doesn't, does that feel good?
No.
So the truth doesn't always feel good. Is that true? Is this also true? People who love you will tell you the truth even when they know you won't like it. And people who don't love you as much will be more apt to tell you what you want to hear rather than tell you the truth. Isn't that true? One of the things I love about Jesus is that he loves us enough to tell the truth, whether we like it or not. And there are some verses in the Bible that at first reading we don't like. Count it all joy, brother, when you have trials of various kinds. I don't hear a lot of people singing joyful songs when they face trials. In the verse that was just read, it says, "These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, trouble, trials. But be of, for I have Are there troubles in the world today? Do you know what makes me realize how selfish I am? When I'm okay with the trouble out there, but I'm not okay when the trouble comes to my door. It shows me how selfish I am when we question God when trouble comes to our door, but we don't question Him when it comes to somebody else's. Somewhere along the way, we developed the thinking that if I'm with Jesus, I shouldn't have trouble. One of my nephews, Brady, was not very old. He went into some kind of seizure right in front of us, turned blue. And I remember thinking, would I do? What would it say about God and His power? How would I react? What if it happened to him? What if it happened to my child? Yet Jesus said, in this world you will have tribulation, trouble. And as if that news isn't bad enough, He adds to it, but be happy about it. I've overcome the world. So as some of you know, I'm writing through the Gospel of John. And of all the writing I've done up to this point, nothing feels like I'm on holy ground more than writing through the Gospel of John. No gospel to me is more real. No gospel touches our human issues. No gospel cuts through the nonsense right to our heart than the Gospel of John does. So this morning we're going to look at a hard story. It's John chapter 11. Before we get into this story, I'm a pastor. I've been a pastor for longer than I want to count now. And I remember my first church, this lady came to me one day upset. And she was upset because we were friends. And a decision had been made for the church that she didn't like. And she figured because I was the pastor and I was her friend, that I should have made sure things went the way she wanted. I mean, what do we say in this world? It's all about who you know. Anyway, so we had a discussion about it, and I basically explained to her, I said, you know what, if I have two friends in the church and they're both heading in two directions, then what do I do? My job is not to do what people want done. My job is to do what we believe God wants, right? So in the story of John chapter 11 is the story of the death of Lazarus. Now Lazarus is not just anybody. Lazarus, Mary, and Martha are a brother and two sisters, and they are the closest friends that Jesus has. Their home is His refuge. Many times throughout the Gospels, He stops by their home. He doesn't even have a home. It's the closest thing to a home that He has. And if it's all about who you know, then certainly Mary, Martha, and Lazarus should be safe. They are best friends with a man who walks on water. They are best friends with a man who heals the sick, makes the cripples walk, removes blindness. Of all the people, they should be good to go. Well, let's read the story. So a certain man was sick. Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that same Mary who anointed the Lord with fragrant oil and wiped His feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Verse 3, therefore the sisters sent to Jesus, saying, Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick. I mean, it's okay. He's sick, but we know the man who walks on water. All we have to do is tell him, and everything's going to be fine. Haven't you heard preachers wax eloquent and tell you all you got to do is ask Jesus, ask him anything in his name, ask, seek, and knock, the door will be open, you'll get anything you want. Verse 4, when Jesus heard that, he said, the sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it. What a weird thing to say. Now this story is full of contradictions, as we'll see as we go. So Jesus says he's sick, but he's not going to die. Right? Isn't that what he just said? And I have a purpose in all this. The purpose is that the Son of God will be glorified. So there's three people at play here. There's three groups of people. There's Mary, Martha, and Lazarus in Bethany. And there's the disciples. And there's Jesus. So the disciples are kind of observers who are caught in the middle between Lazarus needs him. He's not there. He should be going there. But he's not going there. And he's telling us that, oh, I have a purpose in all this. Don't worry about it. He's not going to die. Verse 5. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. Now, tell the truth. You don't have to tell it to me, but tell the truth to yourself. Do you not question the love of others when they let you down? Verse 6. When he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 more days in the place where he was. Now we're talking about an era where you don't get on a plane, you don't get on a bus, you want to go somewhere, you walk. So he just hangs out for 2 more days, doesn't move, doesn't react, doesn't do anything. Verse 7. After this, he said to the disciples, let us go to Judea again. Now again, you have to remember, we're jumping in the middle, so what's been happening is things in Jerusalem are not good. Jesus is not liked there, he's not wanted there. So he has left there, he hasn't been there for a long time, and he says, okay, we're going to go back. And the disciples said to him, Rabbi, lately the Jews are seeking to stone you, and you're going to go back? Are you crazy? So Lazarus is sick, and now you're going to be dead. That's going to help Mary and Martha. Remember, no matter where you stand in any given story, you only see through your eyes. There's always more going on. 9, verse, Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in the day? Again. What are you talking about, Jesus? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble, but he sees the light of this world. But if one walks in the night, he stumbles, because the light is not in him. You know what Jesus is saying? How did John begin his gospel? What did he call Jesus? The light. He's saying to the disciples, if you want to be safe, come with me. Follow the light. Otherwise, if I leave and you don't go because you're scared, you're going to be in darkness. Verse 11. These things he said, and after that he said to them, our friend Lazarus sleeps, but I go that I may wake him up. His disciples said, Lord, if he sleeps, he will get well. Leave him alone, man. If he's sleeping, let him recover. However, Jesus spoke of his death, but they thought that he was speaking about taking rest and sleep. So Jesus said to them plainly, Lazarus is dead. Wait, didn't you just say he wasn't going to die? Church, I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is grave danger, and we're going to see it as we go through the story even further. There is grave danger in picking verses out of the Bible like flowers and taking them home with you and not realizing or giving the Bible a chance to speak in its full context. 15. And I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, that you may believe. Nevertheless, let us go to him. I didn't go, I didn't help him, I let him die, and I'm glad that I did. Hmm. 16. Thomas, who is called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, let us also go that we may die with him. Thomas, always the upbeat, positive thinker. 17. When Jesus came, he found that he had already been in the tomb for 4 days. So he died, funeral, all that, and he's been in the tomb for 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles away. Many of the Jews had joined the women around Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. So when Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him, but Mary was in the house. Now Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, if you had come when we called you, my brother would not have died. Now, the problem with us is that we know how this story ends. And that's a problem. Because the reality is we don't live at the end of the story. We live in the story. Jesus, if you would have come, my brother, my mother, my sister, my father, my nephew, they would not have died. I thought you loved me. I thought you were my Savior. I thought you could do anything. Why didn't you come? But even now, what a statement. Even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you.
Amen.
Sometimes we don't give Martha enough credit. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Now Martha is a good sound Seventh-day Adventist. She understands the death message. Martha says to him, I know he's going to rise again at the resurrection at the last day. What she doesn't add to that statement is, that doesn't help me right now. "25, Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he will live." 26. "Whoever lives and believes in me will never die." Do you believe this? Now, tell me the truth. Is it not possible that you could take verse 25 out of the Bible and make a church around it, and then you could take verse 26 and make an opposing church built around it? Because one verse says, if you believe in me, even if you die, you're going to live again. And the next verse says, well, if you believe in me, you'll never die. Well, which is it? It is both. Because when you believe in him, you don't die. You just sleep. When you don't believe in him, you die, you don't wake up. 27, she said to him, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Christ, the Anointed One, the Son of God, who is to come into the world." 28. When she had said these things, she went her way, and she secretly called Mary, her sister, saying, "The teacher has come and is calling for you." As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. And Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in the place where Martha had met him. And the Jews who were with her in the house and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, "She is going to the tomb to weep there." When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, "Lord, if you'd been here." What does the question imply? The question betrays our thinking that Jesus is only present with us when things go the way we want them to go. And when things don't go the way we want them to go, Jesus isn't with us. Lord, you weren't here. The proof that you weren't here is that he's dead. Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in his spirit, and he was troubled. And he said, "Where have you laid him?" And they said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus wept. Now, again, our false eyes seeing all the wrong things. Verse 36, the Jews saw him weeping and said, "Wow, he must have really loved him." Now, rewind the tape. Back to the beginning. Message comes to Jesus. "Jesus, Lazarus, the one you love, is sick." Yeah, I know he's sick, but he's not going to die. And the glory of God and the Son of God is going to be revealed through all of this. So big picture, something is happening to Lazarus, but in the big picture, something's happening to a whole bunch of people. Mary and Martha don't see this. They see, I had a brother, he's dead, Jesus didn't do anything. Now I want you to put yourself in Jesus' shoes for a minute. I know we don't often do that because we're, frankly, very selfish. Wouldn't it have been easier for Jesus to demonstrate his power to raise the dead by using somebody that he didn't know and didn't love? Wouldn't it have been easier for Jesus if God had come up with a plan where he didn't have to disappoint the people that he loved the most? Jesus didn't weep because he was sad that Lazarus died. Jesus knew Lazarus is only sleeping, and a few minutes from now I'm going to wake him up. I knew that before I ever came. Not why he's weeping. You see, in the grand picture, God can just back up and be aloof and say, well, you know what? Yeah, they're going to live, they're going to die, they're going to suffer, this is going to happen, but I'm going to fix it all in the end, so really what difference does it make? But when he gets close to the tomb, and close to those who are close to the one who's in the tomb, see, I believe Jesus didn't just weep that day for the sadness of Mary and Martha, although he did. I believe he wept with the weight of the knowledge that for thousands of years, his children have been in this position over and over and over and over. And would continue to be in it over and over and over and over. And even though he was going to be a big hero today, it wasn't going to solve anything tomorrow. Lazarus isn't alive today. One of the few people who's ever been buried twice. Sorry, just give me a second here. Luke. Luke chapter 22. While you're turning there, I want to share with you a quote that shows how desensitized we've become. As they, referring to Adam and Eve, as they witnessed the first signs of decay in the drooping flower and the falling leaf, Adam and his wife Eve, companion Eve, mourned more deeply than we now mourn over the death of our loved ones. I'll read that again. As they witnessed the first signs of decay in the drooping flower and the falling leaf, Adam and his companion mourned more deeply than we mourn over the death of our loved ones. When the beautiful trees dropped their leaves, the scene brought to mind the stern fact that death is the fate of every living thing. Okay, Luke 22. Beginning of verse 39. Coming out, he went to the Mount of Olives, as he was accustomed. As he was Don't wait to look for Jesus in a crisis. Coming out, he went to the Mount of Olives as it was his custom to do. His disciples also followed him. When he came to the place, he said to them, "Pray that you may not enter into temptation." And he withdrew himself from them about a stone's throw, and he knelt down to pray, saying, "Father, if it is your will, take this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done." The angel appeared to him from heaven and strengthened him. Being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat became like great drops of blood falling to the ground. He rose from his prayer. He came to his disciples. He found them sleeping. He said to them, "Why do you sleep? Rise and pray, lest you enter into temptation." While he was still speaking, behold, a multitude came. In one of the other Gospels, we're told that he prayed this prayer how many times? 3. What answer did he get? Don't ever let yourself think, or let anyone else tell you, that following God means that every time you get down on your knees and call out to Him in trouble, He's going to take it away. It's not the truth. In this world, you will have trouble. Be of good cheer. It's not the end of the story. I wish I had time to find the quote, so if someone wants it, you can ask me or you can look it up yourself. She says, sometimes we want things from God, and then He creates circumstances by which to give us what we've asked for, and then we pray away the very circumstances that He's created to give us what we want. Jesus came to seek and save the lost. But when it came down to the crunch, everything in His humanity tried to pray away the very thing that was going to do what He came to do. My brother-in-law Rocky, his mother asked me point blank last week, do you have an explanation for this? I don't. But someday, it will be revealed. Someday it will be shown that if we could see now what He sees from where He is, we would have chosen no other path. We walk by faith and not by sight. I don't believe in God because things always break my way. They don't. I believe in God because He has proven Himself. And if sometimes God can't even answer the prayers of His own Son, who am I to think that it's always going to break my way? At the beginning I asked you if you wanted someone to tell you the truth or not. Now I want you to think about this. Would you want a friend who loved you enough to do what you always wanted them to do? Or who loves you enough to do what needs to be done for the greater good? Because we serve a God who doesn't coddle us, who doesn't try and make everything just the way we like it. He's better than that. He loves us more than that. Trust Him.
Song number 632, or closing hymn.
Heavenly Father, thank you that you love us enough to do what we need and not always what we ask. And thank you that in the meantime, you weep with us and you walk with us. Thank you for being a better God than we can imagine, and a much better God than we give you credit for. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.